could do it, everybody would. Where's the camera? If everybody could do it, everybody would do it.
Probably makes the most sense just to go after bricked. So everything that wasn't first is what will be covered today. And what was right after bricked was Five Cinders, Please. And their run was the second best. It was basically just a bricked run with more brickedness to it. So let's just get into what that means. So as we talked about in previous videos, the 5 different parts. First of all is getting in. Well, they got in just fine. Seems like they were rezzing someone outside, or hard to know exactly the shenanigans with all these different guilds of getting into the raid, so we won't focus on that too much. Obviously not much to focus at the start here. So their veil, clean, no one pulled threat. Post veil trash, they skip. Suppression room. It was pretty solid. They had a good pace. Right here, it's weird how they stop. I guess they had someone die and they had to res, but I would have thought, but I guess you're stuck in combat, right? So can't start pulling and do that res. So that res did grief them quite a bit. But anyways, they were the one guild that had Broodlord debuff while they fought Broodlord, not for long, but for a brief amount of time. So that was kind of the sign of their speed and showed where they were at the time comparatively to everyone else. So, Broodlord clean, no one died. Post Broodlord, looks like they do have a death here. Kind of weird to have a paladin die in techies like that. They have a single mage comp, so you see mages doing the most damage, but all these warriors are just zugging everything down and just insta-killing as soon as everything gets in here. They throw dynamites and pop, 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 everything goes down. So I don't understand how a paladin would die in this, though you'd think a caster would be farther back and not die. Anyways, Salvdali almost pulls and wipes the raid. That would have been really bad. So he just had a brain fart. He's known for this brain fart, so it's kind of funny how it's happened multiple times like that. It shows how he's just someone that is wanting to go, 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 and when there's nothing to do, you can cause trouble. So, anyways, the largest difference between Bricked and these guys is how Bricked didn't kill this pack. So they did a Petri skip. They had a rogue go out to the side there and skip this, and then they do the invis skip right after. So this time-wise was the biggest difference. And to Brick's advantage, they fought Fire Maw way back in the entrance over there. With this strategy, I'm not exactly sure. I think they might have still just fought Fire Maw wherever and then just continued forward. I'm sure they've practiced it. Again, that's the advantage of when you do your run a couple of times on the PTR, you can deal with these different patrols. So this was probably the big scuff of the run and why the run was significantly slower. So beyond this skip here, the second skip of the invisibility was not super clean. They lost a total of 4 people. One of them looks to be a tank. So being down a tank for going into the dragon boss is not ideal, assuming that they had 3 people still with cloak. We're just doing quick overviews here, so not going too much into this, but so they had 4 deaths previously, and now they do the skip. So they're down 5 people because they're going to skip the dragonkins here. Or draconoids, I should say. So the 3 draconoids are skipped. This drag here was not super great. So they're 35 manning Flamegore on day 1 with 1 hunter. It's a fair amount of DPS output. So the raid is taking a fair amount of damage. The healers are getting a little stressed at this point. Looks like there was some threat issues with taunts and stuff like that potentially. So this was very, very scary here. Someone dies to threat, it looks like. And then this breath here, A healer ran in front of everyone else to try and be ahead, but kind of forgot what dragons do as far as breaths. Doesn't look like they have a cloak on, so they just got Giga owned. So now they're like 33 manning this boss. On Chromag, really bad threat. Looks like Dali finally got good RNG with ED and crits and stuff like that, so he's doing great damage. Threat is not good. But yeah, so now it's time lapse. So he's second on threat. I don't know. I'm not going to look in the logs here to see if it was the lip or the bop. It's like exact ticked perfect if it was the bop or the lip that saved him here. But he tanks for a second, gets down very, very low health. So you see why I use all these different consumables. That right there is the difference maker. Very scary stuff, but props to Dolly for living there and playing that fight correctly. Anyways, that's really the difference in the runs, is they just had less people for the last couple bosses of doing damage, on top of not doing one extra trash pack, and just a cleaner overall raid. That's really the difference between Bricked and second place. Beyond second place, the amount of tech of skips does continue to go down. So now we're looking at Squawked. This is third place, Horde Guild. So nothing too major to say about how they got in. Looks like they're all here, 40 people. Looks like they got all their different buffs, so that's great. We'll skip now to Vale. So Vale looks clean. Post Vale trash, they do the invis skip. Into suppression room. Oh, and it was clean, by the way. So they had a very clean invis skip there. Suppression room, clean. Good pacing. Horde side is different with totems, and suppression room is more of a pain in the sense that if you're ever stopping, you need to make sure you keep track of things. But so this is the Horde side difference here. A little hard to tell from this viewpoint. It seemed to me like shamans were casting way too much chain heal, and Tom just got ticked down here. He was at low health for a very long period of time. You'd think a nature swiftness could have pretty easily saved him. Again, not going to look too much detail into what could have saved Tom with more health, stuff like that, potential additional buffs. Reality is that Horde side just has more of issues with lower health pools without kings. So they lost their tank, and then when their tank died, they now lost their top DPS. So this was kind of a big blow to the raid to lose a tank and a top DPS. They do one techie pack. And then Firemaw comes to them. They had good timing here. Clean Firemaw. They stayed in the whole time. They do the skip. So this is the scary skip that they do. And Bricked and 500 Please didn't do this strat where they bring everything to the side as far as techies and stuff. So this group skips the same amount of stuff as Bricked does. But the difference is the Petri strat versus the invis skip strat. Invis skip requires everyone, well, they do like a half invis skip where they invis skip this little bit. So they all make it, in theory, besides like one or two of them. So one or two of them fail the invis skip, great. So 36 of them, 37 of them make it through. Seems great, right? Well, in the second here, you see how character's just going to pan and look around, and all of a sudden there's these ads that are raining in on this raid. These fell guards are just keeping on coming, and they have some warlocks, so they are able to, in this raid, banish one of them. They have one warlock. So one is banished, they're killing, and they're kind of cycling between damaging and damaging boss, damaging ads, damaging boss, damaging ads. And they have set tanks to be swapping between when the boss does its debuff on the tanks. So a little hard to tell from comms perspective, but I just want to note a clear difference in terms of like general, like not preparedness, but panicness, right? This raid, you could kind of hear the panic in them. They were freaking out, but much more clear focus as far as people were still taunting and just not total panic. So near wipe, they don't lose more than 1 or 2 people though. They stack them all up and blast them down here. These mobs have 90k health, which is a lot. They hit really hard when they're enraged like this. So this is no joke here. This is serious, crazy damage going out. The advantage of being shaman chain heals stacked up like this is apparent in a situation like that. And they just blast it down. So big props to this group for handling heroic Evanrock. They're the one group that pulled that off. The problem is that when you do a pt2 pull like that, those mobs are engaged and they're in combat, and because everyone else is close enough, those Felguards seem to always come that way. You're going to see a later run that wipes to it, and the difference was just the general focus of the tanks being able to taunt correctly here. It's what we're going to note later when we have some fun getting to see some struggles. And not trying to highlight those struggles too much because it sucks, but that's what these progs are all about, right? Is being able to look back at the sad times and how it's not so bad anymore compared to that first clear. So first person that tries to do this skip here fails. They have a rogue that's running on over. He casts his evasion too late, or a little hard to tell exactly, but he does not do the skip correctly. So then they have a second person come and do the skip. So a little bit of a time loss there. They have to then summon someone. And then they have a clean Chromag. Clean-ish, I should say. It was a time lapse. So getting time lapse on the first clear as that first Horde guild is very unlucky. What can you do? So they did lose a little bit on Chromag, but not a ton. And that's really the raid. So pretty easy time for this Horde guild. Couple threat issues, lost a tank kind of early, but they executed, and the big thing was their heroic Evanrock that they pulled off. Really made them an elite raid group. So props to these guys. I think it's pretty cool what they did. So fourth up here, we have DPS Club. They had an easy time getting into the raid, it seemed. And let's look at their Veil now. It looked at him for a second there, so that's always scary. They got looked at, but nothing went crazy. They're all good. Veil went okay. And they fail the skip. So their invis does not go correctly, but they don't call to wipe. They pull off a successful kill here. So they lost like 1 person or 2 people, 3 people maybe, to that accidental pull. But props to them for just blasting this down. Shows a pretty strong raid group to be able to do this. The advantage of having full world buffs. Definitely not ideal to lose some people there, but could have been worse. So props. But that slowed them down significantly in terms of their debuff. So their suppression room was a little bit slower compared to the previous runs that we've seen. That's what just kind of immediately set them back compared to other groups. And then the way that they pulled Brood here really slowed them down. They're like dragging it through suppression a long period of time here. Very weird Broodlord. Then I think it was just like a cat feral druid that died. But then some other people die. So the Broodlord was just kind of weird. A little bit weird of a suppression room. On techies, they only have one mage, and their mage dies on the one techie pull. So a little bit of a rough time here. But only 2 deaths. They keep it together. So they pull this um, Draconoid pack, Wormguard pack. Firemaw comes to them. And now they do the Invis skip. Second Invis skip goes well, only 1 death to it. And then from here on out, pretty clean. Oh, besides this, right. So I forgot. Uh, this is the group that the casters, again, casters forget what dragons do as they're just getting into BWL. So all the casters stand directly in line of a breath here, basically. So like half the caster core dies, 3 priest deaths, and then the tank dies at the last second with all those healers dying right at the end. So kind of tragic to lose a tank right at the end of a tank fight like that. And as a result, I feel like that if their tank hadn't died on the previous boss, they may have been better off for this, maybe. A little hard to know without their perspective, but now their Cro-Mag goes downhill. They keep it together, but they lose a lot of people at the end. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 deaths on Cro-Mag for the fourth clear group. This is the worst Cro-Mag I think that we're going to look at. And again, I feel like it's just a result of the tanks that had previously died. If their main tanks had been alive for that, I think would have been better off. But again, we don't know the exact details of these runs. I just wanted to kind of highlight some high-level stuff as we walk through them. So Neff went just fine. Easy time. So let's watch the 5th run. So at this point, we're getting less into the tech side of things, I would say.
Didn't we bring Aosir to Blackberry?
So these guys seem like there's no real risk. I forget if it's a PvP server that they're even on. It's like not one of the servers that everyone else is on. I guess we could look right here and see. I'm blinding you with this, sorry. Oh, they're on Thunderstrike, so same as DPS Club. Okay, so 8. This feels now more and more like we're just getting into good old typical private server BWL clears where it's just clean and it's not a super giga heavy comp of just like 1 or 2 casters. It's more balanced, and because of that, they're just blasting down everything with less tech, but just keeping it, consistent and reliable. So they kill this pack. This is the first group that we've seen that hasn't done Invis Skip. I mean, the last group tried to do Invis Skip and failed it. This group didn't try. They just went and killed it. Had good tempo going into Suppression Room. Again, Broodlord seemed a little bit weird in terms of where they were fighting it, but they made it work. They have a lot of mages. Techies just kind of melt. And now they get Fire Maw. Most groups have tanked Fire Maw in like the standard position. So they killed one extra techie pack compared to every other group that we've looked at. And now they've killed 2 extra techie packs compared to every other group. And now they've killed 3 extra techie packs in every other group. So I believe they skip 1 pack, question mark? Yeah, so they skipped 1 techie pack compared to every other group that only killed 1 techie pack. And they kill the worm guards. And they only end up being a little bit slower than some of the previous groups that we've looked at because they're just keeping it clean and pumping everything down. So some of these runs now that we're going to look at are a little bit more of anti-tech and more old, good old consistent clearing World of Warcraft rather than invis skips and that kind of stuff. And don't think I'm hating on the invis skips, but that's just how Prague is, right? So these first clears, you get to see some of the ingenious, smart, sneaky stuff that you can do in World of Warcraft, and then you also get to see in the Prague runs a lot of just good WoW clears of raids that just know what they're doing. Like 8. These guys are solid. So, speaking of knowing what they're doing, we're going to watch a group that had some struggles. So, getting in seemed fine. Again, a little hard to tell. We assume every group just kind of got in pretty easily. Easy time on Veil. We're watching Who, by the way. So, Who has a disastrous suppression route? They have the worst suppression route. And what they also have the worst of is the comms. So we'll just listen to the comms for a second here and enjoy the misery.
Okay, it's all good.
Keep walking up.
Yeah, we're getting these.
Yeah, get the boss.
Yeah,
Get
get
the
boss,
boss.
get boss, get
We have
boss.
respawns on them.
Listen, we're gonna get
Zapper
one.
these off, zapper these
You're gonna
off.
get one hatcher with the boss, okay?
It's
Yeah,
fine. Melee hit
Boss
that.
is coming.
Zappers.
Boss is coming.
Get in the corner ranged, okay?
You have this, Ken?
Yeah.
It's all knocking right now.
These
Kill the
hatchers are
hatchers.
flamethrowers.
Kill the hatchers. For the boss. Kill Skull. I'm getting this one, Ken.
Okay, boss.
Flame
Priest
strike.
blade.
Not sludge right now.
Kill the hatchers, man.
Hatchers, boys, come on. Hatchers. Sludge has boss. Sludge has boss. Sludge, make sure you're getting knocked
Callie-
correctly.
Callie, I'll get the one to the right of the boss.
Sludge has boss.
Okay.
Good bolts in the back.
It's up to the mages. Deathwish as soon as you can.
Can't we?
No,
can't,
no,
we
no,
can't,
no.
we
Knives are
can't.
gonna get in next.
Do not,
Knives
do not.
there. Petri knives.
Sludge is up.
It's back on sludge.
Watch flare cabs.
Care threat, Cyril.
There's healers getting hit by the blast wave and shit.
Yeah, you can't get hit by blast wave. You gotta back up, boys.
It's Ken and then KO for knockback.
Okay. We have to back up and res, okay? We have to back up and res.
Kill these ads.
Kill these ads. We have to back up and res.
Resin
Start
blade.
resing.
Res mana users first. Mana users first.
Mana users
Get the
ace up.
priest. Get the priest.
Click
Okay,
all
we
the
have to
traps.
protect their. We have to
Yeah,
get the traps
everything is
ready. We
down.
have to protect the
Everything is down.
reses. We have to protect the reses. We have to protect the reses.
If you get res, just drink priests.
Well, like, painful comms is all I'm going to say. Yeah,
The paladin's res.
we'll just keep this going now. Kind of makes me cringe. Just seemed like they lacked focus there in killing the hatchers. And when so many people are trying to be the person to lead, I think that's what can happen. Very muddled comms there. And from there on, just not super clean. Lots of deaths on a lot of stuff. So we're just kind of seeing, as I'm just scrolling here, someone's just kind of dying on everything. So now we'll talk about the disaster. So they kill this pack. They run down the middle, so they skip both the side techie packs after a little bit of a rough fire maw. And they kill this pack, and now they do the invis skip. And when they do the invis skip, they're also doing a Petri. So they're kind of combining what some of the previous groups have done, where some groups were doing a Petri and some groups were doing the invis skip. And if you did the Petri, you were at risk of these portals, and you're going to see here what happens when you're at risk of portals and you have bad raid comps.
Pull it over a little bit.
Careful.
I can main tank here.
Move up,
Push.
because they're going to reset.
Curse on me,
Reckonings
curse
below
on
will
me.
reset. Move over to the wall, move back. If you're
this.
tanking, move back.
Throw me to Petri again.
We should be
We're
okay.
fine.
here.
Be on star. Don't know
Morning,
what
Click
to
it
do.
off and start running back
Be on
then.
star.
I'm dying. Ads are resetting.
Ah. BC, you have to take this wing buffet.
It's fine. We'll just.
I don't
Q on
see
your
it.
cloaks.
Right,
Q on your
I found it.
cloaks.
It's
Q on
okay.
your
It's
cloaks.
okay.
They're all
I got
gone.
knocked. All good.
Yeah, can you take debuff from me? I taunted it for now.
Okay.
Fell guards are coming for us. Fell guards are
see you
coming for us.
next.
3 fell guards.
Here
3
they
fell guards are
come.
coming for us
We'll be
behind.
fine.
Okay, we
It'll
have
be
to pick
fine.
these up. We have to pick these up.
Death
Not
wish
bad
on the
fun.
boss. Bring him into the boss. Death wish on
Bring
the
him into
boss.
the
The
Bring him
boss
into the
is
boss.
healing a
You can
fuckload.
banish one. It's okay. Bring him into the boss.
Hit the
Bring him
boss.
into the boss. Bring him into the boss.
A meme.
Get him
They're
off
a meme.
Odang here.
The taunt.
They're just spam
Cal,
spamming.
I'm tanking
boss
right
is
now.
healing
Cal, I'm
so
taking
much.
these ads, okay?
3 more fell
Don't-
guards.
Sludge has boss.
What the fuck is going on, bro?
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
You can
it's
dummy
fine.
up front if you know what you're doing as well.
Turn off Sludge, I have debuff.
You need to finish
Yes.
Kill the boss, guys.
Cal has it right now. We're gonna finish this boss first, okay? Finish the boss.
Oh, your healers are dead.
I don't take it till debuff.
Somebody
Careful with
tell
that.
me.
I don't know.
Finish boss here. Finish boss.
Gonna die here.
Do you want DI on Crisp after boss?
Yeah,
I guess.
get the DIs out. Try to finish boss. Go for broke on boss.
MRP here.
Don't let me help.
Crowd should have debuff.
Somebody
Don't
else
toss
has
me.
to taunt. Someone else to taunt. Someone else to taunt.
Alright, Nova has boss.
Fell guards, dude. Godly. Try to finish.
Boss is dead.
DI Petri or no?
I
Did you have DI? Did you have DI or
Yeah, I
no?
did. You canceled. No,
Okay,
no, I
okay.
didn't get it all. Fuck. No, I don't
Wait,
know.
Petri or no?
Trying to say.
Yeah, Petri if you can res. Petri if you can res.
Somebody
100%.
has
Yeah,
to finish these
cables.
mobs.
I don't
Petri if you can res or have cables.
That's crazy.
You despawn at some point? What is...
Oh my god, every
Horrible,
fell guard
guys.
came down on us, dude. That's unbelievable.
That's crazy. Those comms.
That's unbelievable.
Kind of unbelievable. Just a lot going on there. But after that, they get a pretty quick recovery of having people that were DI'd and were able to res or goblins. I don't know. I don't know what. There's a lot to say about what we just watched. They just didn't have the focus that was needed, right? The tank swaps that were going on were subpar, so the boss was healing constantly, and they didn't have clear focus fire on the boss, so that healing was enough that it was just not going down very easily. Finally, the raid leader kept yelling, focus boss, and everyone really hammered down and was able to kill the boss, but it was a wipe. That was the raid one on here. Just a couple deaths on Chromag. And they're going to finish it off here on Neff. So this was kind of a comical one to watch. Again, not trying to be too mean and make fun of comms, because I think it's good when people stream comms. Shout out to raids like Bricked and this Who raid here that have their full comms available of the raid. I think that's pretty cool. Something that some of the other raids don't do. A lot of the EU raids don't do that. So, speaking of EU raids and speaking of Who, we're going to watch the EU version of Who. So, this is Monkey News perspective, a very seasoned WoW player that has streamed for a long period of time. So, again, these guys are very experienced and know what they're doing. Veil Melts. They have, again, similar comp to what we saw of another EU Guild 8, where it was like 5 mages. This is even more. This is 7 mages. Kind of crazy. They don't do the invis skip, and unfortunate, they take a death here. This was just kind of crazy damage output that was happening. Didn't seem like they had many tanks or something. I don't know. Kind of weird. But only 2 deaths in total. They pull it off. So because of a little bit of lacking on post-fail trash, suppression room's going to be a little bit tough here. They have a lot of trash all coming in at once because they're on this left side. They just have a ton of mages, though, that blast everything down. So they just all Arcane Explosion, and everything is just going to kind of melt here with Arcane Explosion combined with AoE Shouts. So then they just continue forward. Again, this run here is just kind of a standard private server run, is the way I would describe it. In the future, I'd like to describe what I would consider a standard BWL, and the steps to having that go cleanly. But this is an example of it. When you bring full wood buffs and you have people that know what they're doing, the hope should be that BWL should fall down in like 30-35 minutes and shouldn't be too hard. So they skip 1 techie pack, whereas some of the other groups have skipped 2. Then they go into this pack, and they quickly went into the next pack, and they do the next pack, and the next pack. So who has skipped the least amount of techie trash yet? Or EU who, I should say. And they did kind of another heroic Ebonrock version where Ebonrock was running down. This was really good gameplay from Monkey News. Let's just highlight this real quick. He's got the annoying position of being the person that stands and waits for disaster.
We have Evan just kill it. Yeah. It's haunted, but I need you to get it off me. Yeah. Just keep on that trash there, guys. Keep on the trash.
Really good gameplay. They're chain taunting. They're preventing this ad from going crazy. And they just blast it down and then move on to the boss. So very well handled, professionally done from a group that's definitely dealt with that kind of stuff before when dealing with Ebonrock's patrol. They didn't do any skips of those Wormkin, Draconoid, whatever they are, packs. Chromag went well, nothing crazy there. And then it's just Neff. They do kind of a weird strat here of having everyone stack up. I haven't seen many groups do it this way, so this was interesting to see. And then they did lose a couple people on Neff, but overall pretty clean. Easy peasy. So we're looking at FR now. This is the last of the VODs that we have for the top 10 to look through right now. They only have 2 mages, so we're getting back to a little bit more of Giga stacked comps. Fail went well. They killed this trash, they didn't skip. So first invis skip didn't happen. So that means that going into suppression room is going to be a little bit slower compared to groups that do the invis skip. They blasted everything down though. And Broodlord was clean, besides 1 death. So they kill Fire Maw in kind of the standard spot. They skip 1 techie pack, where some groups skip 2. And they kill everything else. So this group with only 2 mages, they still blasted everything down. And it was interesting to look at the logs here for this group. It wasn't like that the mages did only the damage on the techies. With the amount of dynamites and stuff that can happen with a 40-man raid, if everyone throws stuff at the techies with explosives, that the techies die pretty quick. Standard Evanrock, standard Flamegore, they don't skip. They even do the dad strat of having the boss run back at him. And now we will move on to a couple of runs that weren't top 10 but had some kind of funny moments. Show some clips here. Overall, I think it's pretty cool to see BWL have so many people be interested in it. It's definitely a fast-paced raid that doesn't take super long if you know what you're doing. So I'm happy to see more raids, and I'm looking forward to posting some info and kind of guides related to this sort of content. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely let me know and subscribe, and looking forward to posting more. So GG.
That's stupid.
Hug left
actually.
here, go to the line.
Hug left. Right here.
I can't
Lesser
summon
invis.
at
Go. Lesser invis. Go. Lesser invis and go straight through. Skip the pack. Skip the pack. Go straight through. Go, go, go. Lesser invis. Lesser invis.
Do not
Go
clip
wide.
the
Look at
flame.
Chud. Look at Chud. Yes, he will get caught by the aura flames. Do not run through the mobs. Go.
Oh my god.
Just die if you die. Die if you die.
Just die. Just die. Just die. Like, you're gonna kill everybody else. Just die. If you're in combat, just die. Who did that? Who did that? Who walked straight through it? Dude, are you fucking dumb or you just don't listen? Are you serious, Drift?
I apologize, man.
That was a disaster. Biggest, one of the biggest disasters. So yeah, we got Ubers. Ubers was a no-go. So we had to zone out, and then we got wiped running in, of course. And then we were like 10 minutes for 7 minutes or something late. And then at that point, everyone was just like, yeah, well, it's GG. So, whatever. Unlucky, I guess. And then we rushed everything because we were like, yeah, we're at a disadvantage, obviously. Which, I don't know if that was what we should have done, but we did it. And then we fucked up like all the tech that we wanted to do, of course. In Viz skip, somebody forgot to do something and pulled everything, and then yeah. Oh well. Unlucky.